Unlock your full potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
Yeah, I'm feeling like Mike in the ring. Nipe Mike in the booth, punchline, waga ming. Nataka niwazuzwe kazi Nedin. Nina dream ya kufly high kama kapeti ya Aladdin. More flavors, strictly for you. Big player mpaka wanipe Ballon d'Or. Competition mine cheki kwa kio. Ligi ni so, best in the game, mini pro. On party kwa party, labda invites only. Big spenders wanna spend bila worry. Security tight, usi worry. Make with the solo, but love man toke na shori. Everything I want I get, everything I want I get. Ja ja, usiache kunipa your blessings. All the else nimepata ni za lesson. Yeah, na dream big, niko na big dreams. Nani niko skimming, winning with my dream team. Isa mashup, shut down the building. We were uptown, downtown, paka Malindi. Na dream big, niko na big dreams. Na dream big, niko na big dreams. Na dream big, niko na big dreams. Tuna take over the streets to make hack the system. Na dream kama Martin ya kuwa king kakaka. Nitoe testimony kama Kali unanipata. I pray that all my niggas wapate kile wanataka. Maisha ni fupi so na enjoy the good times and laughter. Yeah. Tuna take over the streets, fuck the system. Ni sisi, ushindi lazima tubebe ligi. Hawanipati na siko busy. Chini ya maji kajimi naunguza na madazigi. Big flexer, sound fresher. Big fish kama Nick na wapa more pressure. Super heavyweight, wananitanga Brock Lesnar. When me pull up on the yard, it's a demolition. Everything I want I get, everything I want I get. Ja ja, usiache kunipa your blessings. All the else nimepata ni za lesson. Yeah, na dream big, niko na big dreams. Planning niko skimming, winning with my dream team. Isa mashup, shut down the building. We were uptown, downtown, paka Malindi. Na dream big, niko na big dreams. Na dream big, niko na big dreams. Na dream big, niko na big dreams. Wanna take over the streets to make hack the system. Na dream big, na dream big, na dream big.
Asano in that one. The name of the jam is Big Dreams. Karibuni sana to everyone live with us on the YouTube channel, everyone live with us on Rumble, BitChute, everyone with us on the radio station. Hope you guys are doing amazing this wonderful Tuesday afternoon on your end. It is, what's happening? Okay. But yes, karibuni sana to everyone who's live with us. I thought the lights literally want to do that thing. But karibuni sana to everyone live with us on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, on the radio. My name is Joby to the first time listeners. Hope you guys are doing great, having a wonderful, easy Tuesday so far. 20 minutes past 8 p.m. right here in the 254. And of course, today we have an interesting conversation. Yesterday, we were not able to bring the conversations to you guys due to lights. Yesterday, we didn't have lights here, but I'm grateful today they are really on and working. But today shall be talking about the false sense of peace and who's in control of freedom when you talk about America, rather in America. And this is a video, actually, I'll be sharing rather information coming from one of the greatest, amazing leaders literally has been there. That is Malcom X. And I'll be sharing that literally as we get to continue with our conversation for the day. Along that, we shall be talking about what is happening with, of course, Bill Gates funded agenda. A lot of things have been happening literally in the real world. As we've been talking about other things, I know we've not actually been talking about the real other things also that are, part of the plans of the agenda 2025, 2030 that are actually, of course, being executed. Earlier today, I did mention of something that Bill Gates actually said during the weekend regarding the livestock being vaccinated globally. And he said his agenda actually, or his first mission, or his first focus is Africa. And I did question, and a lot of people and controversies going on online is, why wouldn't he start with his own family? Why wouldn't he start with his own country where he comes from? Why wouldn't he start with his own people but us? It's crazy. So we shall be talking about that. We shall also, of course, be talking about what other matters that actually, of course, news and updates of what has been emerging during the weekend. But before we get into that, of course, I have some other news and updates coming from Africa itself. We're talking about Zimbabwe. And before we get into that, I want to share this amazing video, something positive. And I know most of the Americans, I think, according to what I've seen so far, most of you guys love to use FaceTime, Zoom calls, and all that. It's like, for us, we used for normal calls. Video calls is maybe for WhatsApp, which is also not really that much of a rare thing. It's not like you guys in America. I'd say Zoom and FaceTime is basically, I'd say, for you guys most of the times. But I want to share this video of this amazing lady, because everything that we have as literally, or rather most of this innovations we have globally, we know they come from Black people. History that we never taught in school, history that is so hidden. They don't want us to learn any of this, of course. They don't want us to understand how much of the power we really have as Africans, what we were capable of, the greatest civilization and all that. But this is her name is what is her name? I couldn't get her name correctly, but this is one of the ladies who came up with Zoom and FaceTime, and without her, actually, you guys will not be having internet calls. So I just want to share this quick knowledge with you guys as we get started with today's conversation.
Without this Black woman's genius, we wouldn't have Zoom, FaceTime, or even internet calls. Her name? Marion Croak, and her impact on technology is everywhere. Born in 1955, Marion Croak always had a passion for fixing things. She joined Bell Labs in the 1980s and started working on a revolutionary idea: how to send voice over the internet instead of phone lines. At AT&T, she led the development of voice over internet protocol, the same technology that powers online calls today. She even created text-to-donate technology, which raised $43 million for Haiti relief in 2010. With over 200 patents, her innovations shaped how we communicate. In 2022, she became one of the first Black women inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Imagine life today without internet calls. So why isn't Marion Croak a household name? Drop a comment if you think more people should know her story. Follow for more untold Black history, because this journey is just beginning.
Exactly, because this is untold history. You wouldn't know any of this. That is Mark Crook, if I pronounce her name correctly. She is the inventor of Zoom calls, FaceTime, and literally you're talking about internet calls. So shout out to her for that amazing job, and of course to all the Black innovators that literally, of course, their history has been taken away from from them or from us, which is part of us, by the white people, and they don't want us to learn any of this. But of course, as we get started, like I said, I want to hint a little bit on what is happening also in Africa before we get into the Malcolm X video. And earlier today, I was talking about this lady and the situation that is happening actually in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, people are really suffering. The situations are really getting worse. We have land grabbing that is actually on the rise a lot in Zimbabwe. I'll be reading the article regarding that, and of course, the people who are highly involved in this and how Zimbabweans are really suffering. But I was talking about this video earlier today on my show, the Pan-African Bliss Show, highlighting how there are people in Zimbabwe who have gone for months, that is a month plus, without water. And we have leaders who are actually getting monthly salary every month. Mind you, every month we have leaders who are pocketing millions of money, and not just that, they're having their salaries being added. That was just, I think, on Friday. I'm not sure about if I shared the article with you guys, but we saw, for those who are with us on WhatsApp, I think I shared a certain article, if I'm not wrong, where we saw Museveni did actually add salary. We're talking about 1 point something million Kenyan shillings. That is in Kenyan shillings. I don't know in Uganda currency what that is, but he added a lot of funds, that is in terms of salary, for them doing a great job. If you look at Uganda, it's a really shitty country, and sorry to people like Maria said too, but it's just the fact. Uganda is not developed anywhere at all. If you go to Uganda, actually, if you actually view the videos, personally, if I were given there, even if Kenya was actually under the crisis or the worst crisis, I'd not go to Uganda, because there's nothing left there. There's no hope there for the people themselves. So what hope would I have there, as a guest, literally? So I want to share this video right here of this lady who was actually explaining the situation that has been happening in Zimbabwe. And personally, this breaks my heart to see that this is happening, and it's happening at the same time that actually also some people in Kenya, right now in some places, we have some place in Kenya where there is outbreak of cholera, talking about Kasarani region, some places in Nairobi, some counties in Nairobi, people actually are undergoing an outbreak of cholera. This is because, of course, drinking dirty water, and because the system has not been able to provide us with water, because they can't. We need Mr. Beast to come and help us and show us how to dig wells and all those kind of things. I mean, what a shame. What a shame. So I want to share this video of this lady very quickly. If you caught up with the Rhythm Scoop show on Friday, I think you had the audio. We did share it, but I want to share it again as I get to read the article of land grabbing in Zimbabwe, and how literally this is where we talk about internal racism. And I'll share another video of another lady who is talking about this. It's so sad to see that division has really made us enemies of each other this much. And I love the fact this lady was talking about why is it that Africans are so quick to support Indian, Chinese business, but we don't support our very own people, And then you take me back to what this is. I mean, this is what we've been talking about the whole of last week: internal racism, the self-hate, or the hate towards your own very people, to the point where it's so deep, and it is just so crazy. But let me share it again.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mazwangendaba, and today I'm here in Pumula East in Bulawayo. And this is the plight for the people of Bulawayo. It's been a month and a week without running water in our homes.
Imagine a month and a week without water. You guys, can you imagine living a month and a week without water? I can't imagine myself living a week and a month and even a week, leave alone even a day or 2 days. We go crazy if these people don't.
Because you're spoiled, Joey.
No. I don't want to say really I am spoiled. I'm going to call it blessings. There's different.
No, you're not supposed to go weeks and 2 weeks without water.
Exactly. Because for me, myself, I always, if I see literally water, it's kind of reducing on the tap, I yell like no one's business. I've paid rent on time. I've paid the water bill. Why don't I have water in my house? What do you mean you've not pumped the water? Is that my business? You don't have tokens to pump water. That is none of my business. You pump the water. But this is just so crazy to see the situation that is happening in Zimbabwe. This is crazy.
As you can see right behind me, this is a queue. People are looking for water. And the sad part is that this water is unhygienic. The water is from a sewer pipe. So you can imagine the disaster that is looming, cholera and related diseases. Ladies and gentlemen, there are people that we voted for in parliament.
Exactly.
These people are nowhere to be found to assist the people. They are not in solidarity with our suffering. They are only seen during election times, and after that, you only see them in their flashy cars passing by. No help, nothing.
Sounds like all of Africa, don't it? See, if she didn't say Zimbabwe, you would say that was Kenya. You would say that was Ghana. You would say that was Nigeria. Same shit.
Exactly. flashy cars, the Bugattis, and all that, and they don't get tired. It's like even if we complain, these people don't even care. They don't care.
5 years after independence. In a few weeks' time, we'll be celebrating independence, and this is our plight. Can you imagine 45 years later, people don't have running water in their homes? Mr. President, this is how people are living in the city. People are suffering. Dear Coltart, this is how we are living as Pumula residents. We're using sewage water. There are no bowsers. There is no.
And you guys got independence late, like you said. You guys didn't get independence to 1980, fighting the white man. Most of the other Africans got free at least in the 1960s. Zimbabwe didn't get free of the white man until the 1980s. The 1980s. So,
excuse me. And for us who got independence, the so-called independency earlier, we still stuck the same position.
I know.
Because, like I'm saying, as I shared this, that was during this weekend, we had reports of cholera outbreak also in Kenya. So many people are drinking dirty water, like completely. Or our water pipes are literally, of course, we've seen that our water pipes are connected where there's sewages. There's no maintenance of anything.
That's the cholera. That causes cholera. So because yes, mismanagement of systems because these Africans have a ton of work. They do not care. It's crazy.
Contingency plan. Would you please reach out to Pumula people? Please make sure that the government avails funds so that we get water in our homes.
You're not, lady.
Yes, you
You're
can.
saying, please. See, that sounds like just the nice, the kindness of African. That should be, please, stop it, Diley. Please, all kind. No, they're not going to do nothing. That's why they keep trying to let you guys, you're the same people. No matter what kind of goofy tribe you think you are, your behavior is the same.
Yep.
Please.
This is, see.
Lady, I'm telling you, this is not going to change a dang thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this
You
is
gotta overthrow your government.
This is not right.
No,
Let's
it's
do
not.
right by people. This is inhumane. Please
Exactly.
do reach out to Pumula residents. Make sure there's a
You're right.
contingency
You're
plan.
right. Your poverty in Africa is, I told you, the poverty in Africa is inhumane because you got inhumane people that run your governments, guys. I'm here to tell you. Until you saying, please do right, that ain't gonna make nobody do right.
It's crazy, man. This is just super, super sad. The same situation. I'd say this is not what I saw really in Kibera, as much as Kibera is really, really messed up. Because again, I was there also during this weekend, but it's just crazy, man. It's
You
just
went back again?
Yes, I had to go back. I mean, I told you if I get the chance, I will, but it was just so abrupt. So I didn't have no phone, no office phone, nothing. So I just left, and my phone was not really fully charged to connect to StreamYard and all that. So I went and I saw literally something interesting in Kibera. Culture and tradition is very highly still practiced. That is one thing I really like about that. They're still very much traditional, very much cultural. And I talk about cultural and tradition is where growing up, we used to have skits, like having skits and, playing them maybe anywhere in the open public, in the churches,
I got you.
schools and all that. So I saw this actually and I was really, really amazed. And I was like, wow, this is so amazing to see that, because it is something I've not seen like since I was really, really young. Kids on the ground is something rare to see today. But as we talk about Zimbabwe, you can see the situation of water. Now we're talking about land grabbing. So they're saying that, let me read the article. In the Ministry of Local Government, it has revealed more names of opposition members of parliament on the land for votes list, and the urban land is being given to both the Zanapu, I don't know what the Zanapu people, and the opposition, that is the CCMPs, in exchange for supporting Emerson Mnangagwa against
one of the tribes, Joby. Africans got like 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 tribes. So that is one of the tribes.
So of course we saw in Zimbabwe there was a serious demonstration because people are refusing Mnangagwa to, of course, extend his term, which
they want to get rid of him. Right.
Yeah, not okay. So of course, like majority of these puppet leaders, they're always gonna buy members of parliament to vote for them or to do something that actually favors them. So we have the ZANU, that is the the both opposition and the CC MPs in exchange for supporting Emerson Mnangagwa against impeachment and helping him extend his term office. The name of the opposition is listed. I'm not gonna read it, and note that one of these members has turned down the offer. One of the members of parliament, although he attended the meeting held yesterday at one of the district office where the MPs of their representatives met. This ministry has been instructed to give MPs that is 1,000 square meter pieces of land, most of them in greenways, in ward 16 of Harare Westgate. I don't know which part of literally that is the central or whatever.
That's Harare. That's the capital, Joby. So it's giving them the best lands, like giving somebody the best lands around Nairobi. Exactly. So they were given the best lands around Harare.
Mm-hmm. Greenways are strips of natural land within the urban and suburban areas that are preserved for environmental and recreational purposes. They include parks, walking pathways, cycling trails, and undeveloped natural corridors like woodlands or wetlands. And they help manage the storm water, protect biodiversity, reduce urban heat, and provide communities with access of green space. When government sees or allocate greenways for development, especially for the political favors, it must spark public outrage because it destroys communal, environmental, and recreational assets. And
But
this is
it's called land grabbing. The same thing they do in Kenya. The land grab.
So you already have the issue of white people trying to get, of course, the benefits of the land already, and then we have the people who are this is just so crazy. We need an Ibrahim Traore, man. We need an Ibrahim.
That's what everybody's saying. That's what everybody's saying.
We need an Ibrahim Traore. This is just so sad to see what Africans are going through. Is already enough. Wars left, right, and center, and it's still not enough. And this is why I love the fact that the video I'm gonna be sharing after just these stories we're sharing here of Malcolm X, the way he's breaking it down. There's no system that has been created to save African people. I love the fact that he said that, no system, no one appointed in these actually systems, unless it's someone who comes up and stands up with the people, of course, which majority are assassinated. No one has been chosen. Exactly. I love the way he said, none of these Negroes have been chosen even to represent any of them, They're just there to play the political, games the way they are exactly. Get their money, and if you are too loud, they're gonna tell you calm down, calm down, don't be too loud, I think there's a certain article we are reading or something we played that actually also mentioned the same, where Africans are not supposed to be too loud, you're too loud, so calm down. You always have someone like what's the other guy? What's the other guy? Martin Luther King, an example. Coming telling you need to calm down, you're too loud.
To calm down, Negroes.
Yeah, it is just so crazy. So I'm not sure that video as we continue, but I really condolences and I send my sympathy to the Zimbabwe people. You deserve better for real. And I really hope, again, like what we were saying earlier today, understanding with the majority in this continent, I hope we're going to get the strength mentally first to fight these white people. Because
the majority in the world.
Exactly. This is just too much. But shout out to everyone with us on the chat. John Mosquito, Jibajaba, I see you said you'd catch this on a replay. I hope you enjoy when you do. I see you saying go have some tea and biscuits. John Mosquito, wow. You should have the British food. And I also see John Mosquito says because deep down in our subconscious, we believe we deserve to live in objective poverty.
Exactly, Joe Mosquito. That's real. That's what I said. Only Africans can accept this kind of poverty. That's real. I don't believe that. That's my subconscious. I think I don't believe none of that. But
I think you're saying that with the video I said I'm gonna share. Let me share it before I get to move on to Malcolm X video, because this lady was questioning something very important. I bumped into this during the weekend, and she asked about the division in races. And when you say Black people, we're so quick to go to the shops of Chinese, Indians, but not support our very own,
That's called inappropriate behavior as a race. That means
Let
we
me
have self-hatred, inappropriate, because you're funding the very people who weaponize black men. You're funding the very people that take your money and weaponize that against us.
yeah.
So you practice inappropriate behavior.
Okay, so let me share it.
talking about this, so I will. Why, out of all the slaves, we're still the only ones in slavery? Why is it
Exactly.
that we as Black people are the only group that hasn't truly come together to build wealth collectively? Out of all
Yep.
the enslaved people, we're the only ones still fighting to reclaim our power, our unity, or wealth. Why can't we operate like the Chinese and the Indians and grow our society as Black people together? Chinese support Chinese businesses,
That's,
Indians support Indian
that's a
businesses.
tribal.
Look around. Chinese communities are building blocks of businesses. Indian families invest in each other until everyone eats. And us, we've been divided by design. That's not by accident. That's programming. When it comes to Black owned, we question, we hesitate, we bargain, but it's our job to unlearn it because no one is coming to save us but us. And the moment we stop trying to make it out and start
Sounds
building where we
Jamaican.
are, that's the moment that we rise together. But here's the truth they won't tell you. When Black people unite economically, emotionally, spiritually,
You win.
we become unstoppable. We become dangerous to any system that was built on our disunity that we've been carrying for years. We were taken from royalty, stripped, broken, and scattered across the world, and yet still expected to rise. But hear me when I say this, just because we've been separated doesn't mean we can't come back together. We are the original builders, the blueprint, the culture. It starts with one mindset shift. With one person deciding, I'm gonna support my own. I'm gonna lift up my brother. I'm gonna empower my sister. We don't need to wait for the world to give us a seat. We've always had the table. Now let's build together. Now imagine this. Black farmers feeding Black families, Black builders building Black communities, Black healers restoring Black minds, circulating the dollars, circulating the love, circulating the power. This isn't just a dream, it's a blueprint. We just have to choose to follow it. You feel that? That's your power waking up. So here's what I'm asking. Support a Black business this week. Uplift a Black voice. Pour into a sister. Pour into a brother. Because healing doesn't just happen individually. It happens in community. We are not meant to do this alone. We rise when we rise. So let's break the chains our ancestors didn't get a chance to and build the world they dreamed of with our hands, with our hearts, and our unity. Now comment. I build with my people. Tag your business pages in the comments too and your location. Let's support each other. Let's rewrite this story together. So if no one else is gonna say it, I will. We deserve more. And we don't have to wait for it. We can build it right now, together.
Yeah.
What if we
Now,
loved each other enough to rise
right. Now
collectively?
pause that, Joey. Pause
Let
that
me
for
know
just
if
a
I
second.
should.
Now behind the scenes, I'm taking Joby and Demore and teaching them how to build and building together. I think they're surprised that I trust them, that I would build with them, because they're family to me. I don't care if they're Kukui, Lua, Cam. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Because I know it's African people where she's saying, she's Jamaican, I hear a Jamaican accent, that we must build together. We must love together. That we build together, we'll build wealth. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to build wealth. Good.
That is so true. But that is the end of this
I
particular.
should do a part two.
Yeah, that is the end of that. And when I was looking, majority of the comments, one of the
Now,
comments,
now I'm going to give that Jamaican sister credit. She sounds strong, so I'm with her. So I'm with George Guy today. We're all Jamaicans today.
yes, in the comments, one of the person said religion plays a big part in our downfall, of course, which is very
Yes, it does.
because there's also division in religion, which actually is very, very bad, especially in Africa. It's worse, leave alone the Catholics, leave alone the, I don't know, these other groups. In Africa, we have the Kikuyu churches, we have the Luo churches, we have the Luya churches. It has become that super bad. So if I go to...
Imagine that you even got the churches that are tribal. That's crazy.
Yep. If I go to a Luo church, I'm not going to understand anything because I don't understand Luo fully. If I go to a Kikuyu church, I might slightly understand some
Yeah, a
things.
little bit.
yeah, if it's not that really deep, I can understand Kikuyu, but it's gonna be so hard for me. Unlike if someone was speaking Swahili, I'm gonna
Really.
struggle to catch up with some words. If I go to a Luya church, it's so hard because number one, the dances are so crazy, super, super. It's just crazy and insane. You get, I've gone to a Kikuyu church before, by the way. I was dating this guy whose mom was so much into church, and then they wanted me to become saved so bad because because they thought I was getting married to that guy. So I went to that church, and then they started like speaking in tongues, and they were asking me questions, and they were saying, I see some things about you. I see this and this. I can't remember what they said the vision was. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's nice.
I see you're gonna dump my son. You're right.
That was good. But trust me, because I stayed there, it was actually from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. I was so tired. I'm
Wow.
hungry. I'm starving. Or the only thing they're giving you is water. And I'm like,
That's a,
I never
that's
went
a
back.
that's a whole day of craziness.
I never went back because it's a whole lot of speaking in tongues, a whole lot of crazy dancing. It's like you're possessed. So you have to act like you're possessed as well so you can catch along. It's just so crazy, man. But
It's the
religion,
same thing. It's the same thing in America with these Negroes here, Joe. It's the same thing. A whole
yeah.
lot of craziness.
Other person says because we are the only people who accepted their God wholeheartedly. Until we free our minds, we will
Exactly.
continue to be enslaved. And the last comment I'm gonna read is that the richest people in the world, uh, is black. They are black people. That is also one of the comments. So you can see people are really waking up, of course, and understand the truth, but the journey is going to be much more, I think, right here in Africa, because waking up all this religion mindset is just super crazy. But let
Yeah,
me dive into
you can't even get rid of the religion. They can't get rid of the white Jesus. They trying to kill you.
yeah, you'll be stoned to death if you try to do that. Don't come do that here, don't come saying you're Jesus. Can't you see I did this for? No, we don't care. We don't care. Jesus is white, god damn it. But anyway, let me share this video, of course, as we get started immediately with the video.
Tonight, during the few moments that we have, we're going to have a little chat like brothers and sisters and friends and probably enemies too, about the prospect for peace or prospect for freedom in 1965. If you notice, I almost slipped there and said peace. Actually, you can't separate peace from freedom. No one can be at peace unless he has his freedom. You can't separate the two. And this is the thing that makes 1965 so explosive and so dangerous. The people in this country who in the past have been at peace and been peaceful were that way only because they didn't know what freedom was. They let somebody else define it for them. But today, 1965, you find those who have not had freedom and not in a position to define freedom. They're beginning to define it for themselves now. And as they get in a position intellectually to define freedom for themselves, they see that they don't have it. And it makes them less peaceful or less inclined toward peace.
Malcolm X opens this speech by confronting the false sense of peace in America. He questions who really benefits from the promises of freedom. His tone is sharp because the stakes are high. What he describes in 1965 still hits today: inequality, frustration, and the urgency to act. As the speech continues, he turns up the pressure. The next clips show him naming names, breaking down systems, and warning what's coming if things don't change.
So in discussing this topic tonight, prospects for freedom in 1965, I think we have to go back.
So pause it, Joe. Pause it. You know, it's 1965. That means in a few weeks they would assassinate him. He got murdered in 1965. So this few weeks before the FBI and CIA all had him killed, right? Along with the Nation of Islam, they all collaborated and were in cahoots to murder him. You know, it was the FBI, the CIA, and the fake Nation of Islam colluded to kill Malcolm X. So soon after this speech, he was already marked for death. They assassinated him. Go ahead, Joe.
So 10 years to the time when the struggle of the black man in America began to be projected into the limelight, not only in this country, but throughout the world. It started primarily with the Supreme Court decision, so-called desegregation decision, and I should say so-called desegregation, so-called decision, because there has been some doubt as to what they really handed down. One of the main ingredients in the struggle of the black man in America for the past 12 years has been the black Muslim movement. No one can deny the role that the black Muslim movement has played in America during the past 12 years, has been one of the main ingredients in the stepped up militancy on the part of black people throughout this country. No matter what direction the black Muslim movement itself was headed in, no matter what its own organizational philosophy was, and no matter what other people thought about it, no matter what their personal opinions were of the black Muslim movement, still it cannot be denied that that movement, because of its uncompromising stand and uncompromisingly militant approach to things, forced other civil rights organizations to be more militant than they normally would have been, and forced many of the civil rights leaders definitely to be more militant than they ever would have thought of being. So the militancy of the black man in America during the past 10 years, in my opinion, can be traced largely to the existence and presence of the movement, which I'm referring to now for purpose of identification as the black Muslim movement. Its contribution to the black struggle for freedom in this country was militancy. It made many of our people dare to get loud for the first time in 400 years. Many of the black leaders.
Now, pause it. Now, he's saying the truth. Pause it. Because he's saying, remember, it's like the lady seen in Zimbabwe, all quiet, please. That's how black people are. So the whole time we getting beat in the head and hurt, we were never getting loud. We go, okay, stop hurting us, please. Stop beating us, stop killing us, please, stop. He's right. We were never loud. We were never fighting. Stop, please, don't hurt us. Stop it. Oh, you're dealing with a savage, Jack. And you're inappropriate, your response is inappropriate. You're supposed to get loud. You're supposed to get crazy. People that are, exactly, kindly sad. That's what you see African Americans doing. Because you're the same people. You're the same humanity. It's a beautiful humanity, but it's dangerous when you're dealing with a savage. George.
For the first time in nearly 400 years of our being in this country. They got more militant than they intended to be, and they made many of the people become more militant than they intended for the people to be.
That's you, Keith.
It had a chain reaction effect that actually got out of control somewhat, because the leaders themselves never intended and never do intend for our people to go too far. Their primary purpose in our midst has always been to contain our struggle, not lead our struggle. Proof of which, seldom are they seen until the irresponsible elements.
Pause. And Malcolm X became a danger because he was linking up with Africa. That's when he got to go. Remember, Malcolm X was the one linking back to Africa. So we can't rise unless we rise with Africa. That was a no-no. Remember, Africa was just now becoming supposedly decolonized. I remember sitting out trying to let Africa go. Malcolm X was such a big influence globally. He was going to Africa, saying we got to raise the African up as well. We got to come together as brothers. They go, oh, nah, time to get rid of his ass. He got to go. Good job.
Community begin to explode. And then they go all the way around the country to grab one of them from wherever he's traveling and bring him in to cool things down, to tell us to be cool or tell us to take it easy don't rock the boat. This is their function. This is their role. At least it has been up until recent times. They never have been put in the role that they're in with the intention by the one who puts them there of them leading us into any uncompromising and militant struggle. But the existence of some of the Muslim groups and the black nationalist groups that couldn't be controlled by the power structure downtown, and I only use the expression power structure downtown to keep from calling it what it actually is.
You're being nice. Power structure downtown.
These nationalist elements actually serve their purpose in that sense. They gave respectability to the civil rights groups and gave acceptability to the civil rights groups. 10 years ago or more, the NAACP was looked upon as a radical, leftist, almost subversive movement. And then when the black Muslim movement came along, the power structure said, thank the Lord for Roy Wilkins and the NAACP. In the Congo also, the People's Republic of the Congo, headquartered at Stanleyville.
He talked about Africa. Martin Luther King never talked about Africa, never. Martin Luther King, because Martin Luther King was controlled by the Jays. Dr. Mention's talking about global Africa. You see some of the Congo, what's going on there, other Africa. That's why he was a danger. Africa's the wealth of the planet. You didn't give me that goofy Martin Luther King marching around buildings, nothing changes nonsense. But Malcolm X was a threat to their power. He's talking about the Congo and taking that power back and the wealth of it. Like, no, got to go.
For freedom against Shambi, who was an agent of Western imperialism. And by Western imperialism, I mean that which is headquartered in the United States in the State Department. In 1964, this government, subsidizing Shambi, the murderer of Lumumba, and Shambi's mercenaries, hired killers from South Africa, along with the former colonial power Belgium, dropped paratroopers on the people of the Congo, used Cubans that they had trained to drop bombs on the people of the Congo with American-made planes. To no avail. The struggle is still going on, and America's man Shambi is still losing.
And the Congo still messed up with the wealthiest part of the planet. He's telling you this 60 years ago. This is 60 years ago. 1965. 60 years ago, Malcolm X came about the problems in the Congo. It ain't nothing changed. You know why? Because of the wealth of Africa. That's why.
Now, in speaking like this, it doesn't mean that I'm anti-American. I'm not. I'm not anti-American or un-American. And I'm not saying that to defend myself, because if I was that, I'd have a right to be that after what America has done to us. This government should be lucky that our people aren't anti-American. They should get down on your hands and knees every morning and thank God that 22 million black people have not become anti-American. Because if anybody has a right to be anti-American, we have. You've given us every right to. And the whole world would side with us if we became anti-American. You know, that's something to think about. But we're not anti-American. But we see we are anti or against what America is doing wrong in other parts of the world as well as here. And what she did in the Congo in 1964 is wrong. It's criminal. Criminal. And what she did to the American public, to get the American public to go along with it, is criminal. What she's doing in South Vietnam is criminal. She's causing American soldiers to be murdered every day, killed every day. die every day for no reason at all. That's wrong. Now, you're not supposed to be so blind with patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong no matter who does it or who says it. Now, if I'm anti-American for saying that, then Wayne Morris is anti-American. Church senator from somewhere out there is anti-American. A whole lot of them in Washington, D.C. is anti-American. So I'm just telling you what I read the good senators said. Also in 1964, China exploded her bomb, which was a scientific breakthrough for the oppressed people in China who suffered for a long time. I, for one, was very happy to hear that the great people of China were able to display their scientific advanced knowledge of science.
Father, see, at that time, he didn't realize that China was created by the Jays, that's being created, and that bomb was given to them by the Jays. Malcolm X had no understanding that time. Remember, Malcolm X is only 30-something. He's a baby, really. He dies, he's only 30. Malcolm X never lived to be 40, they got rid of him. So he's still young. He doesn't know all these things. He doesn't know who created China. He thinks China's an independent country that got the nuclear bomb. Not. Don't no rice, poor backward country develops no nuclear bomb. They can't even feed their people. China didn't have the technical prowess back then to build nothing. That was given to them, same way they were given our manufacturing. But like I said, he doesn't know that yet. He's still young. Malcolm X, young. Go ahead, Joe.
For a country that is so backward, as this country keeps saying, and so
exactly
behind everybody.
But it is true. China was backwards then, Malcolm. It was. That's not a lie that they're saying. China was backwards then. That's a fact. Chinese on TikTok tell you that. They know these are facts. They didn't even have toilets in the homes. The toilets nowhere. This is back in the late 80s, they tell you, early 90s. These are facts now. You're going back even 40 years before that. China was backwards now. Don't like to hear that because you think they got some camaraderie with black people. They don't. They were a backwards country. So they didn't develop any bomb. The bomb was given to them. Go ahead, Joe.
Could come up with an atomic bomb. Why, I had to marvel at that. It made me realize that poor people can do it as well as rich people.
See, he knows like this. He knows China's poor. But he'd be surprised. China's rich now. China was poorer than Africa back then. Imagine that. China back then was poorer than most African nations coming out of trying to get independence. China couldn't help China couldn't even feed its own self, help no Africa. It was very poor. And so she's thinking a poor country could know, my poor country cannot do that. That's why there's been no poor countries that developed no nuclear bomb. You must have the organization to do it. China didn't have that. And you must have the wealth to do that. There are no poor countries with any nuclear bombs, because India's not poor. Can't call India a poor country. India's like number 3 or something, but it just looks messed up. So there's no poor countries with nuclear bombs, Malcolm. So China didn't create no nuclear bomb in being poor. It was given to them because the Jays had already decided that that was going to be their next empire. This is when you're starting to be, when they killed you, when they start, hey, we're going to start shipping jobs. All this stuff starts happening. They're having a nuclear bomb. They didn't develop it. It was given to them. Same way Russia was given. Russia didn't build no bomb. It was given to them because the Jays controlled Russia, controlled the Soviet Union. So, the Jays in America gave it to the Jays in Russia. These are facts. But nobody did no developing in Russia. They giving it to them. Go ahead, Joe.
Have you seen the videos of Chinese manufacturing companies now exposing?
Yeah, tell the truth. I've been saying, I don't know how people that I told you guys that years ago. I said, Joey, same stuff you guys go crazy about iPhones and all. It's created in the same factory as a low budget phone at the same price, Joey. But you guys buy Africans all caught up. Everybody caught up in these brand names, the brands, Joe. The brand. But
That's true.
they made in the same factory, Joe.
I've seen people on
They made in the
TikTok are
same factory.
yeah, people on TikTok are going crazy and in disbelief, of the Louis Vuittons, all these bags, the
Yeah.
expensive luxury things that they come from China.
Take some $5 to make it. They charge you $1,500. That's what I tried to tell Joby that 2 years ago, but I said, Joby, it's the same crap. It's made in the same factory. All they do is change the branding. The brand is in your mind, but the phone is no better. You chasing the brand because that's called propaganda. That's called marketing. It'll market a brand to your mind. The same
It's
Nike shoes. Go ahead, Joe. What you say, Joey?
I'll go to China. I'll go to China and get it. Because right now, even some Kenyans who have the ability to travel, that's what they're saying. I'm going to China to get all these things. Like, we've been lied
Yeah.
to. We've been buying things expensive, and in China, they're this cheap. People are going nuts, and in the
I
internet.
was saying to my friends, I can't believe people don't know this. China, I got your Joby 2 years ago. I said, and then everybody's all surprised. I'm like, what? I said, you guys, just like when I told Demore about the damn wall, the Clippers. Those are the walls. We heard that's the best. I said, Demore, that's a brand. It's not the best. I said, you listen to Africans that don't know nothing. You guys are copying the brands. It's made up in the same Chinese factory. Okay, I talked to these barbers. Now what they told me, these are the best ones. These are the same Clippers, Demore. This one. It's just that you in love with this brand name. They're made in the same factory by the same people. All they do is switch out the branding when they stamp it. This is this and this is this. You're like, oh, I got the real thing, Joby. I got the iPhone, Joby.
It's crazy. The videos on TikTok are just super, super crazy. And then
I
the
love
Chinese,
they're doing it because of the tariffs, and I can't believe that many people stupid didn't know this. It blows my mind. I thought they knew all this stuff. I've been saying it forever.
we had a video of the Chinese also. As I continue this one, the Chinese made a funny video of if Americans were producing iPhones, and all
Yeah,
this.
they was all fat. So
All
we got to go. We got to go. We got to show that video, Joey. We got to show the damn. He said, "Make America great again." You got all the Americans doing manufacturing. Everybody's all fat and messed up.
Yeah, it's in McDonald's as you do the work and they're all fat. I was just so laughing. That was so crazy. Like Chinese are really raw. They're going super,
Yeah,
super
but
raw.
they're not. Yeah, the Chinese let's know they're not going to be bullied. Like you talk to African people crazy. So you're not going to talk to us crazy. What we're going to do?
We know little niggas. We know.
That's right. That was Joby's thing.
So all of these little advances were made by oppressed people in other parts of the world during 1964. These were tangible gains. And the reason that they were able to make these gains, they realized that power was the magic word. Power against
Power.
Power in defense of freedom is greater than power in behalf of tyranny and oppression. Because power, real power, comes from conviction, and it produces action, uncompromising action. It also produces insurrection against oppression. This is the only way you end oppression, with power. Power never takes a back step, only in the face of more power. Power doesn't back up in the face of a smile, or in the face of a prayer, or in the face of some kind of nonviolent loving action. Power, it's not the nature of power to back up in the face of anything but some more power. And this is what the people have realized in Southeast Asia, in the Congo, in Cuba, in other parts of
He said,
the world.
he said you can't
Power,
smile and act inappropriate with power. You can't smile and be nonviolent. That MLK nonsense. That was a psyop. Your thing is you're gonna be oppressed to gain power. Because only power respects power. So if you're gonna be oppressed and smile when somebody smacking you in the head and smile like the African, like we as African people do, smiling and laughing, then power's gonna run all over you. Because power does not respect weakness. That's the nature of power. Power does not respect you smiling, laughing. It's gonna run all over you and dominate you and abuse you. You must face power. Shout out to even Torre. You must be listening to all these things. You must face power with power, and you must not be cowards. They haven't been cowards. You must face power with power unapologetically. That's when they get scared. They don't get scared with you smiling and laughing in their face, shucking and jiving and saying, please. No. They get worried about when you're talking about you're going to take power and be unapologetic about it. Good.
Recognizes only power. And all of them who realize this have made gains. Now here in America, it's different. When you compare our strides in 1964 with strides that have been made forward by people elsewhere all over the world, only then can you appreciate the great double cross experienced by black people here in America in 1964. The power structure started the new year out the same way they started that out in Washington the other day, only now they call it, what's that, the Great Society? The Great Society. Last year, this 1964 was supposed to be the year of promise. They opened up the new year in Washington, D.C., and in the City Hall and in Albany, talking about the year of promise. Promise that black people would make advances in education, would get better schools, better school facilities, better teachers, that jobs would open up. There would be less black people in the unemployment line. That in areas of the South where we formerly had not been able to vote, we would be able to register and vote. That we would become socially acceptable to those who in the past did not consider us socially acceptable. But by the end of 1964, we had to agree that instead of the year of promise, instead of these promises materializing, they substituted devices to create the illusion of progress. And 1964 was the year of illusion and delusion. We received nothing but a promise. We received nothing that would actually solve the problems that we were confronted by in January of 1964.
And it's the same thing now.
The trick.
You're giving promises. So this is 60 years ago. You know how relevant this is? You've been giving promises by this. Remember, everybody black went from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. Both of them racist. And you've been giving promises and never given nothing. And it's taken you 60 years of this dream, this MLK nonsense dream. It's a nightmare where you're finally waking up again. 60 years of false promises. After Malcom X is telling you, you've been giving promises, ain't been giving nothing. But beating, jails, whippings, abuse, same thing. Same thing, nothing's changed. Good joke.
Fake slogans.
One of their devices to let off the steam of frustration was the March on Washington. They used that to make us think we were making progress. Imagine marching to Washington and getting nothing for it whatsoever. But it shows you how shrewd the power structure is. Manipulate the people through the leaders, as long as the people believe in the leaders. In 63, it was the March on Washington. In 64, what was it? The Civil Rights Bill. Right after they passed the Civil Rights Bill, they murdered a Negro in Georgia and did nothing about it. Murdered 2 whites and a Negro in Mississippi and did nothing about it. So that the Civil Rights Bill has produced nothing where we're concerned. It was only a valve, a vent that would enable us, that was designed to enable us to let off our frustration. But the bill itself was not designed to solve our problems. Since we see what they did in 1963 and we saw what they did in 1964, what will they do now in 1965? If the March on Washington was supposed to lessen the explosion, and the Civil Rights Bill was designed to lessen the explosion, that's all it was designed to do. It wasn't designed to solve the problem. It was designed to lessen the explosion. Because everyone in his right mind knows there should have been an explosion. You can't have all those ingredients, those explosive ingredients that exist in Holland and elsewhere where our people suffer and not have an explosion. So these are devices to...
He's talking about an explosion. It's what's supposed to happen. That's what's supposed to happen in Quebec. That's supposed to happen in what they're going through in Harare. This is supposed to have an explosion. He's supposed to have an explosion. What he's talking about, the conditions you live in. You're not supposed to accept this nonsense. You're supposed to have an explosion. As African people, you're the most kindest, loving people. It's a hard time longer when you explode, when you get injustice. Please help us. You see the water? Help us. What are you doing? Help us, please. That's not no explosion. Help us with the water in Harare, please. No. That's inappropriate behavior. You're supposed to have an explosion. I'm going to change things, or things are not going to work in this country. Either I get justice or nothing works. I tear it all down to the ground. Including this damn Quebec and this Harare. Tear it down to the ground. If I don't get justice, I'm not living without no water, living in filth, garbage. I'm a damn human being. And I deserve humanity. As the lady said, this is inhumane. But if it's inhumane, ma'am, you need to have humane conditions and bring it forward and stop saying please. You're supposed to have an explosion like they did last year in. They're scared to death of Kenya. They're scared to death. Kenya had an explosion last year, and it wasn't by no fake leader either. What about one of these puppets? It was organic. They're scared to death. You better believe every Western CIA and intelligence organization is in Kenya right now, spying, figuring out what's going on, trying to make sure they defuse what happened. Because that was an explosion. Whether you said we're not going to take it no more. Boom! That's the appropriate response. Go ahead, Joe.
Explosion, but not designed to remove the material that's going to explode. What will they give us in 1965? I just read where they plan to make a black cabinet member. Yes, they have a new gimmick every year.
A token. They do a new
They're
gimmick.
going to take one of their boys,
token Negro.
black boys, and put him in the cabinet so he can walk around Washington with a cigar, fire on one end and fool on the other end.
Right. He's a big-headed
This point in
Negro.
the speech, Malcolm X becomes even more direct. He doesn't soften his words. He doesn't try to sound diplomatic. He explains that power only responds to one thing, more power. It doesn't step aside when someone smiles. It doesn't change because someone prays. It doesn't move when someone chooses nonviolence.
Someone says,
He says
please.
clearly that the nature of power is to keep control unless something stronger forces it to change. He uses examples from Southeast
that's what
Asia.
Bro, see, this what almost happened in Kenya last year. This was the phrase. If they ball it and they do it again at the top of the government, because that power only responded to that raw power of the youth in the streets. That was raw power. You better believe the Kenyan officials were scared to death. That's why you had all them kidnappings going on. Because power only responds to power. Doesn't respond to you smiling, saying please, and being nonviolent. Power only responds to power. And you need to learn that. And he tell you this 60 years ago. That's just a fact. Power don't respond to you being a nice African and saying, please and thank you, Jesus, and can we pray? You get smacked in the head and moved out the way. Power don't respect none of that. Power only respects power. Go ahead, Joe.
Congo, and Cuba to show that people in other countries understand this. They have taken control of their own freedom by pushing back against power in ways that can't be ignored. He makes it clear that the people there are not confused about how real change happens. Then Malcolm shifts his focus back to the United States. He looks at 1964 not as a year of victory, but as a year of false. Black people in America were promised better education, better jobs, and more political rights. He lists each promise: better schools, better teachers, more job opportunities, the right to vote, the hope of being accepted socially. But by the end of the year, none of it had come true. The government didn't deliver results. It delivered distractions. Malcolm calls 1964 a year of illusion and delusion. The people were told they were making progress, but nothing actually changed. Nothing was solved. He reminds the audience that in 1963, the March on Washington was used to cool things down. It was meant to let people feel like something big was happening, even though it didn't bring any real solutions. Then in 1964, the Civil Rights Act became the new symbol. But it didn't stop the murders in Georgia and Mississippi. It didn't stop injustice. It didn't fix anything. He says these actions weren't meant to help. They were meant to stop people from getting too angry. The government wasn't trying to remove the reasons for rebellion. It was trying to manage emotions. Malcolm calls them what they are: tools, tricks, not answers. Finally, he asks the most important question. If they used the March on Washington to quiet people in 1963 and used the Civil Rights Bill to do the same thing in 1964, what will they try next? He says there should have already been an explosion because the pain, the rage, and the injustice are still there. The government hasn't dealt with the root problems. It has only tried to stop people from reacting. Malcolm wants the audience to understand that these so-called solutions were never meant to solve anything. They were designed to delay the response. They were created to buy time. He warns that time is running out.
Have the causes that made it slow in 63 been removed? The causes are still there. How can you sit around and naively, in such a naive way, and make yourself think that things are getting better when the causes that created the bad conditions still remain? The only one whose problem is solved is the leader. They get the peace prize, while the people have no peace. Or as he himself said, while he's up on the mountain, the people are in the valley. I'm going to tell you why it's on a slope. And then bring my little talk to a close. In 1964, 97% of the black American voters supported Lyndon B. Johnson, Hubert Humphrey, and the Democratic Party. 97%. No one minority group in the history of the world has ever given so much of its uncompromising support to one candidate and one party in the history of the world. No one people, no one group has ever gone all the way to support a party and its candidate as did the people, the black people in America in 1964. Look how many people voted for Goldwater. Over 26 million. Why, when you deduct the non-white people from the total white population, you'll find out that white people were almost evenly divided between Goldwater and Johnson. Yes. Go get the total number of voters in this country and find out how many of them are white. Deduct the non-whites, the Puerto Ricans, and the Negroes and the others, and you'll find out that white people didn't support Johnson like they want to brag that they did. The non-whites went for him 97%. And the first act of the Democratic Party, Lyndon B. included, in 1965, when the representatives from the state of Mississippi, who refused to support Johnson, came to Washington, D.C., and the black people of Mississippi sent representatives there to challenge the legality of these people being treated. What did Johnson say? Nothing. What did Humphrey say? Nothing. What did Robert Pretty Boy Kennedy say? Nothing. Nothing. Not one thing. These are the people that black people have supported. This is the party that they have supported. Where were they when the black man needed them last couple of days ago in Washington,
This is when you came over to the Democratic Party. He's talking about President Johnson, and Joby's put up so many times, I have these Negroes voting Democratic for the next 200 years. Saying you're stupid. I'm not going to do nothing for you. I'm going to pretend, like he said, I'm going to pretend. And everybody made a mass migration from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. You went from one racist camp to the next racist camp. Because Martin Luther King would tell you the Democrats are going to be good. Oh, didn't work. Good, Joe.
They were where they always are, twiddling their thumb someplace in the pool room or in the gallery. So black people in 1964 will not be controlled by these Uncle Tom leaders. You believe it? They won't be held in jail. They won't be held on the plantation by the overseers. They won't be held in the corral. They won't be held back at all. The frustration of these black representatives from Mississippi when they arrived in Washington, D.C. the other day, thinking, that the great society was going to include them, only to see the door closed in their face like that. That's what makes them think. That's what makes them realize what they're up against. It is this type of frustration that produced the Mau Mau. They reached the point where they
Mau exactly, Kenya.
Power.
See, tell you about apathy. That's why these fake FBA morons, Malcolm X, have nothing to do with these Tariq morons. I'm telling you, that's what happened with the Mau Mau. He's at that same period of time. The frustration, the explosion, the unfairness of Africans being forced, until we show that goopy race being forced to work for free in slavery, taking my land. The explosion was supposed to happen a long time ago, but it finally happened with the mama. It's supposed to happen. That people walk all over you, treat you with disdain and disrespect, steal your stuff, and you smile in their face and worship their God. Nah, there's a problem going on here. You've been past explosion time. Go ahead, Joe.
Talk to power. It takes power to make power respected. It takes madness almost to deal with a power structure that's so corrupt. So corrupt. So in 1965, we should see a lot of action. Since the old methods haven't worked, they'll be forced to try new methods. If you read the article in this week's U.S. News and World Report, which is not the best magazine in the world, where it does tell, though, that the Big Six, they call themselves the Big Six, the leaders of the black community who have been endorsed by the white community, the Big Six, they themselves are turning to Africa. Dr. King, Farmer, all of them are admitting that the problem of the black man in America is inseparable from the problem of the African. Dr. King and Mr. Farmer and the others, Roy included, Uncle Roy,
And it's inseparable. Admitting. So I was like, see, that came from Malcolm X. None of these big-head Negroes. They were all told to stay away from Africans. They've got white handlers. Malcolm X told you our problems are the same problem. We're one people. Until we fix both sides of this coin, we'll neither be free. And that's what you're still seeing today.
The problem of that the black man cannot get dignity in America until the black man has dignity on the mother continent. They're admitting that.
Right.
They're admitting that the roots of the black man in America are still in Africa. They're admitting this. I was shocked.
Exactly. Because they never wanted to admit that. These bootlick handkerchief head Negroes never wanted to admit that the root is still Africa. Until Africa gets free, gets its respect globally, no black person on the planet will ever be respected until Africa is respected. Go ahead, Joe.
So what? So soon. So publicly. I was shocked to see that they will say in public what they've always agreed to in private. I was shocked. But it shows that they themselves are undertaking a revolutionary approach to the problem. They're beginning to see that the problem of the black man in America no longer is a Negro problem or an American problem. It's a world problem. When they begin to identify our struggle with the struggle of the brothers on the mother continent, then these Big Six, Uncle Roy, are seeing the necessity of internationalizing the problem. Now, either they have to deny it or confirm it. But I don't think this magazine would say all what it has said and quote them too. Here it has Dr. King saying, there is a growing willingness among U.S. Negroes to identify with the Africans. There is a sense of pride as American Negroes see positions of importance in the United Nations, accorded courtesies which American Negroes are not accustomed to receiving in their own country. Dr. King taught. He was up on the mountain. And they're beginning to see that's the only way the black man in this country will ever get any solution to his problem. It will have to be a solution which the government in Washington has no hand in, because the government can't solve the problem. The government consists of crackers from Mississippi and Georgia and Alabama and Arkansas and Texas. So they are beginning to see that it is not we who should be taking our problem to Washington, but it is we who should be taking Washington to the United Nations. It is not we who have committed the crime. It is not we who have committed the crime. It is our government that has committed the crime. Our government has failed to protect our lives, to protect our property, to give us proper education. It has failed to even give us the proper facilities for education. It has failed to house us. It has failed, as the men there in the book up in Boston, when they dumped all the tea in the sea, taxation without representation has got to go. So I say in my conclusion, to read from another newspaper, many of you say, well, would we have the right to take the problem of the black man in this country before the UN? I say yes, because here it says, this was in the Post a couple days ago. The Post is a New York paper, represents itself as liberal, which is a misrepresentation. It says, House asked to condemn Soviet treatment of Jews. Representative Halpern of Queens urged the House today to condemn what he termed the odious and discriminatory treatment of the Jewish community in the
See how fake this is? See how fake that is? Now I want you to understand, Paul said, we know it's the Jays that created the Soviet Union. See, that's them pushing their propaganda because they own the magazines here that Malcolm is reading from. We know it's the Jays, the Bolsheviks, the Jays that created USSR, created Soviet Union. So how is he talking about there's a problem with Jays getting treated bad in the Soviet Union when they got complete control of it? They're the ones who overthrew the Tsar. They're the ones who overthrew the King of Russia. They overthrew him and murdered 20 million Russians. The Jays did that. 20 million. The Bolsheviks murdered 20 million. That's enough of that, Joker. I'm gonna look this up real quick, Joker. How many people did the Bolsheviks kill in Russia? I spell Bolsheviks. B-O-S. You know, these are the Jays. See, this is how you had propaganding back then. Talking about the Soviets, the Jays, first when they the ones got control of the country. They the ones created the Soviet Union. Joby?
Somebody put the spelling for me kindly on the chat if you don't mind.
Yes. Somebody type in Bolshevik. Let me go to Google. How you spell Bolshevik? How you spell Bolshevik? Let me see it. All right, Job, it's going to be B-O-L.
I got it. Well, Bolsheviks
It's B-O-L. Yeah, B-O-L-S-H-E-V-I-K. How many people did the Bolsheviks kill in Russia? We know it's 20 million. How many they gonna lie? Because they go on Google. How many they saying?
The same estimates for the number of people killed by the Bolsheviks during the Russian Civil War and subsequent periods vary, with some historians suggesting numbers in the millions. And
At least 20 million.
A key period of violence was the Red Terror, with some figures estimating between 20,000 and 1.3 million deaths. And the White Terror, also a period of violence during the Civil War, is estimated to have cost between 20,000 and 500,000 deaths.
See, that's when they were taking over the country. When they got control of the country, so they killed millions. When they just to get control of Russia, they killed millions. Everyone understand that. So what Malcolm X reading this garbage from that paper is garbage. So we know it's the Bolshevik. I'm gonna ask Joe to look this up. Take the country. These 2 million, they killed 2 million people. But when they got control of the country, they killed 20 million people and above. So do this. Ask Google this, Joe. Say, are the Bolsheviks of Jewish descent? But you got some paper in the 1960s. Oh, we need to talk about how the USSR is treating the Jews. What are you talking about? The Bolsheviks are the Jews. The Jews took over Russia. But see, they know you didn't know that. All the lies, the propaganda that the Jays tell to keep power.
Come again, repeat that. What the Bolsheviks?
Say, were the Bolsheviks Jewish?
Mm-hmm. Jewish descent, right?
They say Jewish descendant, they say Jewish. Whatever.
Oh.
See what it said. Oh, some of them were, but not most. Because they some. All of them were. Bolshevik is a Jewish term.
No information.
No information. Okay. Just say, okay. Now you ain't getting no, this how they cover no information. What? Okay, say was Lenin and Trotsky, say was the first president of the USSR, Lenin, L-E-N-I-N, Jewish. So let's say was the first president of the USSR Lenin, Lenin, Jewish. Ask them that.
Russian. They're saying he was a sovereign and Russian politician. Literally, Google doesn't give me because it's supposed to be on the first page, so they're not allowing me to like see. Let me share my page. See information on that.
Okay, say this, Joe. Say was Lenin Jewish? Just ask that. Just so you know they're covering up now because they know it's all lies they've been telling. It's all covered up. Just say was Lenin Jewish? Lenin. Was Lenin Jewish?
The most notable is the family of Maria Alexandrovna Blank, who married I can't pronounce this name.
No more name. Those are Russian. The other pronounce.
And mothered Valdin Lenin, born Lenin's having had 8th Jewish heritage.
Yes, Joe. He is. So they're trying to cover it all up. We got to go through all these crazy things. So them telling in that thing in 1960 about the Soviet Union going against the Jews, that's a lie. Because the creation of the Soviet Union was created by the Jays. Lenin was a Jay. Trotsky was a J. Stalin was a J. What are you talking about? And it was sponsored by the Rothschild family and the Rockefellers who overthrew the Tsar. You know, the name of the king of Russia was called the Tsar because the Caesars of ancient Rome. That was a play on the word Caesar, the Tsar of Russia, because the Rothschilds told him they were going to take over the country. Because he wasn't allowed to put them on what? The same fake bank we got in America. The Tsar said, "You're not putting no bank in Russia. You crazy? I'm the money. Not put them on your fake banks up in here." Said that we're going to get rid of your ass there. We're going to get rid of you. We're going to take over Russia, and they did. Now you can't type in, "What are the Bolsheviks Jewish?" Yes, they are. How they going to be anti-Semitic? He's reading 40 years later. Malcom X is reading that the paper said, "Oh, the Soviets are being anti-Semitic to the Jews when the Jews are the ones in power. They're the ones who took over the Soviet Union, took over Russia and renamed it the Soviet Union. They took over Mama Russia and renamed it the Soviet Union. That's there. They did that. What are you talking about? Because the Jays they teach so much fake history, so much propagandic lies. That's how they've been able to keep control of the planet. You know, all the lies. Even back then, he's reading a lie. I don't even know if he even knows it. He's only 30, so I don't even knows what he's reading is a damn lie. It's garbage, propaganda. I don't think he even knew he was reading propaganda. But he's smart enough to know not to take that what's written in the paper that's truthful. Absolute lie. They're the ones who overthrew Russia, took it over. How you believe that the Soviet Union is anti-Semitic when it was these people that took it over? Talking about through the Rothschild and the Rockefeller family. Took it slap over and murdered everybody. Murdered the king and make sure they wasn't even existing. Killed to murder the whole family. Okay, do this for me, Joe. Read the term. Say, did the Bolsheviks murder the king of Russia and his family? I would say the Romanov. I don't know if the Romanov family. They were named the Romanovs.
Did the Bolshevik kill?
I mean, hold on, let me see. I spelled Romanov. Okay, yeah, the Romanov. Okay, say that the Bolsheviks murder the Romanov because Romanov is going to be Romanov. The Bolsheviks killed the Romanov family. We know that's the last king of the last dynasty of Russia. The
Saying
last
yes, the
king.
Bolsheviks
Yes.
murdered, I can't pronounce that name, Nicholas II, his wife, and their 5 children, along with several members of their and
So it was.
out.
So we know the Bolsheviks, Joby, or Jays.
Mhm.
We know that. So it was the Jays that killed the king and queen of Russia. So what is Malcolm X reading talking about this the they're concerned about the Jays being treated unpoorly in the Soviet Union when they're the ones who created it and killed the king.
Well,
They're
I
the ones
bet,
got control of it.
like you said, I think he didn't know better maybe at that time.
No, no,
So
no, no, no. He was just reading the article. I'm not saying he agreed with it. I'm saying you see how the propaganda it was even back then. He was reading that article. I'm not saying he agreed with it. I'm saying see how deep the propaganda is right there, because it's the Jays that wrote that, saying that they're facing anti-Semitism in Russia when Russia is controlled by them. That's what you're reading right there, Joby.
mhm.
They murdered the king and queen of Russia. Murdered the whole family, Joby. Murdered the whole family.
I mean, who
And
do they think?
I want you to know this is the Rothschilds' payback. They killed the little. You see, they killed all. They had a bunch of little kids. They killed all the kids. Killed everybody, Joby.
It's insane. It's the same
Because the
question
Roth.
I'm asking. Who do these people think they are? It's just crazy, man, that you hold so much power globally this way. It's crazy. It's just
See,
super,
see,
super
your
crazy.
African mind cannot fathom that kind of evil. That's why you ask them. They think we're going to be the power. And I told you, Joby, as the king, as the queen of Kenya, I want to break in your country. What's your response to me, Joby? I'm telling you, I want my Rothschild bank in Kenya. You're the queen of Kenya. Let's say you're the queen. It's a monarch. I come, Joby. I want a bank in your country, a Rothschild bank where I control your currency. What are you gonna say to me?
Hell no.
No? Okay.
No.
But Joby, I'm telling you right now, I'm coming for you. If I don't get you, I'm gonna get your grandkids, I'm gonna get your kids or your grandkids. I'm coming for you. So we know that was told. See, Nicholas is the grandson of Alexander. They told that to Alexander 60 years before that, when the Rothschilds went to the king of Russia, said, "We want a bank in your country." Said, "What? You ain't getting no bank in my country. Get out of here. You sound crazy. We're not putting on your fake banks. You control my monetary system." He said, "You'll do it, we'll kill you." He said, "I'm the Tsar. I'm the Tsar of Russia. You'll kill who? I'm the Tsar. I'm the king." He said, "We don't care who you are. You gonna let us do it?" And so he said no. And so he had his son, and then his grandson, who they finally got. Rothschild says it's time to now take, they're soft enough. It's time to, and I made a promise. I was going to murder the whole family. He told him, "I'm going to murder your whole family."
Crazy.
He told his grandson that. I mean, he told his granddad that. You'll do it. If you don't, eventually I'm going to murder your whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And they murdered the whole family. Did nobody survive? The little girl, the little boy, they killed all of them. Lined them up and blew them away. And threw their
Their
bodies in.
time is coming.
Huh?
Their time is coming. They'll all go back to Europe where they came from in the caves. We won't have time to claim our lands and claim how you are, the fake Jews and all that. The time is coming. The time is coming. But let me go to
Do
the
me a
comment.
favor. Yeah. Go to comment. And then go to TikTok
Mm-hmm.
and put up one of the videos of the Chinese. Said Chinese show Americans working in manufacturing, make America great again.
Okay, Chinese. Sure.
Show Americans working in factories to make America great again. Oh, man. China's been tearing up TikTok. Boy, it's been hilarious. Exposed
But
all the
anyway,
things.
I
Go
see
ahead,
Juba
Joey.
Jaba says, I've been in business for 25 years. I left the comment. I've been in business for 25 years. I can count my black customers on two hands. That is
Wow,
so.
none. That means he's got none. Nobody black is patronized Jibber Jabber's business. That's self-hate.
That is so crazy. Jerome Mosquito, I'll share the video. I'll share it on WhatsApp with you. I also see Jiba says we're skeptical. We are too skeptical, patronizing with our own, but blindly trust a foreigner, even gold
Everybody,
mark. They take
they do.
advantage. It's really
Yep.
depressing. Mhm. And Jason Karibu Sana, he says all of them church dancing people just making energy to harvest for this illusion. It's crazy. Jib also says, I think it's great, kid. I see over the air that Joby and Demore are responsible. I think that's what Keith was talking about. But what is building? But John Mosquito says, I'll be Jamaican again when George Guy returns that bike he was sitting on in Canada.
He
Shout out
said
to
that was. He said that's his bike, General Mosquito. I don't believe it. I believe he knocked him on his Jamaican friends upside the head. Yeah, give me that
yeah.
bike.
I have a friend who has that kind of a bike. He won. Actually, the guy who's playing his song, he won that bike just recently from a competition.
He won it.
Yeah,
Wow. What? What kind of
yeah.
competition was this? Shaking your butt cheeks?
Nah, it was a rap competition. Then
Uh
the video
oh.
was the best. The video was shot by Danny, so he won the award. He won money and won the bike. So yeah,
Wow. He must be
yeah.
one heck of a rapper.
Yeah, he's dope. The guy shared his music literally when I was starting and finishing my show earlier. But Jib,
Oh, okay.
yeah, Jib also says is there a Malcolm X podcast with only audio and his speeches? Maybe if you go on TikTok, I think it would be easy. You can get that. TikTok literally has everything. All
TikTok got it on there more than YouTube.
Yeah, TikTok has literally all the lost files, if you want to call them that way. So that one, Sunken One, Karibu Sana, nice to see you. I see John Mosquito says India emerges as a global leader in science, technology, and innovation. Shout out to Byron Scott. I also see you. Danny says, yeah, the only thing America is good at is branding. We talked about this earlier, kid. And I also see Emil says Japan doesn't actually manufacture all these video games, even though they supposedly own Nintendo. Nintendo. I don't know.
Nintendo.
Oh,
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
I don't think Nintendo even exists no more, does it? I think it's only Sony, PlayStation, and now the Xbox. I think Nintendo went out of business. They were the big one back in the day. They were like the king on the hill. I have Joe looked at. I don't think Nintendo even exists no more.
Mm-hmm. Danny says a Prada bag in China costs $60. Over here, it's like 5,000 bucks.
Exactly. Same bag. But I try to tell people. I try to tell. Joey didn't even want to listen to me. I said, Joey, it's the same phone. No, kid, I want my Apple. My Apple, the thing, the
Nice, because
camera.
I wanted an iPhone
It's
at
the
that
same
time.
phone, Joey.
It's because I wanted an iPhone at that time.
I
Trust me.
know you wanted that brand. You wanted that Apple thing brand. Look at
I'm,
me, girl. Look at my
I'm
Apple.
trust me, I don't think I'm really a person of brands because I'm not the type who has worn this. I don't know Chanel. I don't know Louis Vuitton. None of this.
John,
But with the
over,
phone, I wanted the iPhone.
overpaying for stuff that costs $6 to make in China.
I'll tell Timore to take me to his broker shop. I don't know where, but
There you go.
I'll tell Timore to take me to the back streets of town. Shout out to Ajay. But Jab also says, I bet Trump imported a boatload of mega apparel.
Nigga hats from China. You know he did. You know all that stuff got made in China. All that Make America Great Again got made in some Chinese warehouse. Exactly right.
It's the same material people and facilities used to make. Emil also says another good example, even though Disney is an American company, a lot of their merchandise are made in China. Same with
All of it. Not of it. All of it made in China. All of it. There's no manufacturing in America. Remember, they put your brand on it as they make it. All they do is switch out the branding when they make somebody else stuff, or if they make somebody cheap stuff, they just switch the branding. But it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So it's crazy because in Nigeria right now, I've seen Nigerians questioning, because I think also it's a mentality we also used to have. We used to think made in China, made in China. I don't know if how many people have this mentality. Made in China is cheap.
It's
Made in
cheap.
China,
It's cheap.
yeah.
Everybody knows, yeah, it's cheap. It's no good. Exactly. It's cheap.
But right now
Made in China is cheap.
in Nigeria, made in China is expensive. So they have gone back to made in Nigeria. They're now buying products that are made in Nigeria, which I bet they are not. China, they nothing literally, because what manufacturing industry do we have? Like where in Nigeria? But I also see Daddy says that's a universal law. The only thing that defeats power is more power. That was the concept behind the arms race during the Cold War. I also see Emily says, question to me, question since you're Kenyan, do you think journalist Wahiga Mwahura is truthful in everything he broadcasts, or is just working for the Western media? He's working for the Western media. I don't believe none of these people working for the mainstream media actually are doing the greatest job. Trust me.
No,
Even the
that's why they're there.
yeah, because I think if you know Waiga Wahura, you should know the other lady. What is her name? The lady was exposing the truth about literally Ruto lying numbers about the
Yeah, I'm
the abducted.
kidnapped.
Yeah, and she came up with the list and she was threatened. People went on TikTok trying to actually call out her name, like, we were allowed on the internet. So the word spread and her job was saved. Otherwise, she was to be fired because of going against the system. So, no, Moiga Maura is working for the Western media. I also see G, but I don't know. Right now, he's in BBC. Emil, I think Waiga Maura went to BBC, if I'm not wrong, actually, following Larry Mado. But Jibajaba says, okay.
Are you living in Kenya secretly, Mel? How you know these Kenyan presenters? I don't know none of them bastards. You know.
Yeah, but I also see Byron Scott, the
Bolsheviks.
yeah, starved to death and hunted down and cannibalized about 13 million indigenous Black Russians in the Far East of
Well,
the country.
I forgot about that. Yeah, about the black Russians. They murdered about. See, we always forget about they were black people in Russia. You know, they murdered a majority of the black Russians. So that's why now it's like they were black people in Russia. Those were the indigenous. Those were the original Russians. They murdered them all.
And also CKW Don Karibu Sana is asking, he says Stalin wasn't Jewish, Lenin and Trotsky were Jewish.
Lenin was Jewish from Georgia. Yes, he was Jewish. Don't believe that. Lenin was Jewish all dang day long. He wasn't even Russian. Stalin was from Georgia. He wasn't even from Russia. And then he became the head of Russia. Yeah. You think when the Jays took over Russia, they were gonna allow a non-Jay to be head of Russia? They took it over. You weren't gonna be no head of Russia without being a Jay. Shit. Go back and check Stalin's genealogy. He was all day long Jay.
Yeah, shout out
and from Georgia.
Shout out to Sonic Domo, Karibu Sana, to the chat. This is the videos. Let me share now these videos. These are all the comments on the chat.
Yeah.
Share these crazy videos. This is funny. This is just so funny. This one has no audio. But yeah, this is the first one I saw. Eating McDonald's while making Nike shoes.
McDonald's eating.
You're on Tesla, you're all sleepy because you're fat.
Oh, fat, y'all sleep. Exactly.
The chips, making collecting all the chips.
Let
me enlighten my screen. This is crazy.
All Americans are all fat and sloppy. You manufacture what? What you gonna manufacture in America like that? look at the big old fat black guy. Look at the big old fat black guy. He's like,
All sleepy, can't concentrate. Just thinking about food. Make America
make America great again. Mm-mm. One, keep on turning. Proud Mary, keep on burning. Rolling, rolling, rolling on a river.
Damn, that's so many. I must sing this one. Oh my god. The tablets and all that. This is crazy. I mean, what are they trying to say about Americans? Like, not everyone is really that messed up health wise. Like, this is crazy. This is just so
Yes,
crazy.
Joby. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. I mean, yes, Joby. Yes.
Please go put some
You
workouts.
pulled it up. I had you pull up about Americans have been obese.
But you're into obese, you yourself, I
I'm at a
bet
bad,
some people here on the channel
I'm
are
in
not.
I'm in a bad area. I'm in a bad area.
I can hear you personally,
Huh.
but I'm saying I bet most of the people
You hear
on
me?
the
Okay,
channel.
Joe. Okay, before we leave, Joe, say what is the obese rate in the United States? So what is the obesity rate in the United States? That's good. What's the obesity rate in the United States? Got to be about 65%. So that's yes. And I'm exaggerating. What is it?
The same in the United States, the obesity rate among adults is approximately 40%. This means that excuse me. This means that more than 2 in 5 adults are considered obese. The obesity rate in US is
That's
high,
almost half.
more
But
than
it's high.
40% of adults being considered obese. Wow.
Yeah, so Chinese telling you right there, that's real.
Please put in some workout. I don't like me fat people. I don't. That's me myself. I've always disliked that from being a child. Please go put in some workout. If you're coming to Africa, come put in some
Yeah,
workouts.
yeah. Y'all don't like it because remember when she sat on the matado and that lady had that booty juice?
Ooh, why did you have to remind me that? Oh my god, I'd forgotten about that. Oh my goodness.
That was
But
about
see,
4 years. That was about 4 years ago. That's about 4 years ago, Joe, with the booty juice.
I don't like fat people. That's one of the reasons. Actually, if I see a fat person entering a matatu, I'm gonna get out. Like, trust me, you're not gonna. I see. I'm like, excuse me, lady, let me get out, please. Before like, that. And the good thing is, I don't use my tattoos going anywhere, so I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm using an Uber. Let me just hear the smell of the Uber of what is happening. But yeah, and the worst encounter I also had is when I was a teenager, when I was doing my singing classes. Then
Yeah.
this fat dude, he had a wedding, and then he tried to sexually assault me, and I was like,
Yeah.
hell.
You never told us about that. There's another one. You never.
I'll say that a couple of times, literally.
Oh, you did? Okay. I don't remember that one. Okay.
Yeah, that was the main reason actually I started even like literally disliking anyone big. Like, no, you are a threat to my life, number one. You are a big threat to my life because that's what I faced. Trying to respect someone and then they do not put their big body on you, like, bruh.
You're threat to manufacture.
Like, please go manufacture anywhere else, not with me. But I also see Emil says as we wind up, no, I'm not living in Kenya. I'm just tuned in with global affairs because we all have to know what's going on and coming. We just have to be mindful of who we follow. I agree.
That's
Yeah,
what's
Mwanya
up.
Wabra he has a good fluent language and all that. He convinces talking the truth. But I don't listen to them. Trust me, I don't even watch the Kenyan news. I don't remember the last time I watched Kenyan. I think I think 2020 or 2019.
I'm not
I don't
joking. I can't remember. I lost the regular news in America. I don't
yeah.
even know.
I also see says that this is like a scene out of a movie Shindles, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Schindler List. Remember that movie
Schindler's,
where
yeah, yeah,
refugees
Schindler's List. Yeah, the refugees trying to
what
save all of them. Yeah, Schindler's List.
mm-hmm. I also see on Sankenon says a nation full of big bucks. Popeyes and Dr. Pepper.
I had a Dr. I had a Dr. Pepper. He said I had a Dr. Pepper in 2 years. 2 years ago, I had a Dr. Pepper. Now I've had a Sprite every a couple of times during the weekend, maybe, but I haven't had a Dr. Pepper in 2 years.
I also say Juba says just pull up the people of Walmart if you wanna see fat. Wow.
You got that
Okay.
right.
And then I see Jibba says fat mzungus have different level of stink. I wouldn't imagine. I don't want to imagine if our very own people smell like that. Now imagine the sulfur smell. Like
All right. All right.
that's worse. I also see and Sankina says I was told 25 years ago that you can't trust fat people.
I don't know. I don't know about that. God dang.
I also see Jibba says 100 and Sankenwan can't trust fat people. And Jason says my job gave us Popeyes last week and Sankenwan. Did you say no, Jason? Did you
No,
say
Jason took that Popeyes and ate every last bit of it up, Joby.
you
That's
know?
what he said. He said, "Good looking out, boss." That's what's up.
Jiba says since Keith quit Dr. Pepper, the stock price tanked. Crazy. But yeah, we're coming to the end of today's
Much
conversation.
love, family.
Thank you so much to everyone who has been with us. Today's conversation. Of course, see you guys tomorrow, same time,
Fun.
same place, as we see what we're gonna be talking about. But yes, have yourselves a beautiful day. Take care, be safe out there. Closing remarks, Keith.
Yeah, fun show, guys. Much love. Didn't do a show this weekend either, man. I'll be busy, but I'll try to do. I just say I try to do back to my regular schedule, doing my shows on the weekday. I mean on the weekends. You know, it's what you guys come for. So I'll make sure. And you guys give me some. A lot of times I don't have time to put together a show. I can't put nothing together haphazardly on the weekend. So during the weeks in the WhatsApp chat room, you guys say, Keith, can you address this story? Can you just then it give me time to look it up during the week so I can be prepared on the weekend. So if you guys help me out, right, by going to WhatsApp, so I'm always reading you guys' comments in there. So if you guys like a story or like me to talk about something, put it in the WhatsApp group for me and say, Keith, talk about this if you would. Then give me time during the week to research it, and then I can put it together. That make it easier for me instead of trying to think of some stuff on the fly. Because it seems like I covered everything, you know. I'd be like beating a dead horse. I keep covering the same thing over and over again. And you know, I know we got a lot of new listeners, but to me, it seems like I repeated the same thing over and over again. So anything could be aliens, whatever you guys want to talk about, put it in the WhatsApp group for me, and I can during the weekend I can go ahead and research it, and it makes it easier for me to go ahead and address it because then it gives me time to research it through the week and make a coherent show about it. I'm just not talking out my ass.
So you guys did kindly share the conversation you'd love Keith to discuss during the weekend. If you tag him, I'll be forwarding it to him in case he acts like he doesn't see them. So it will be on him. You know?
Yeah, there you go.
I'll just be forwarding it to him so he can see. I also I don't know when I was sharing some few information, I thought you're gonna talk about it. That's when I shared the Chinese whole thing, you know.
That was funny, but I know that's the whole show. That's funny now. I can't do the whole show. That was funny. I just laughed at it. I didn't think about it. And I like the way somebody made that meme for the Chinese guy. Toby sent me the one, but they did with Mace and Cameron, and then somebody did an AI version with whatever that dude's name, CG We're not your little N-words. We're not your little N-words. We don't believe in big homies.
Let me see if I can find it. I shared it before we leave. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah. It's
know
been
you.
talking about Trump and the tariffs.
Little niggas, like for real, all that big homie stuff, that's for little niggas. Little niggas have big homies. We're not little niggas, so we don't even respect big homies. I know Killer doesn't, and for me, I never respected in the streets. That's why I always got the problems I got. You tell me, Mace, chill. No, chill for what? Who is this nigga? I'm still listening to this, man. Like, I want to respect you, but I can't.
But I can't. But they forget Papa, but you know the real thing, that real story where they were talking to Jay Prince, right? Rap-A-Lot Records in Houston. So Cameron and Mace was talking that Shiite, and guess who pulled up? A week later, Jay Prince showed up. They were scared to death. They went running. They know Jay Prince is the real thing. He's the real gangster. He's like, we can't respect you and all that. And Joby can go look up, say, Joby, look up for me. We'll just real quick on TikTok. Say Jay Prince. Say Jay Prince shows up to Mace's studio. Mace and Cameron's studio. He showed up on their ass. They talking about we don't respect. We're not little niggas. They telling Jay Prince that we're not little ends. We can't respect no Negro in the street. They said, okay, you fucking with the real thing. Showed up on their ass.
But I got this one. I got this one. You gonna take all his fades and take all his shots and you handle everything out the ring. All right. So then we talking to you then. Homie, we starting with you. That's how it goes around here. I want to just start off by saying you are so lacking self-awareness. Like when you give such a lackluster performance and then you think you can make threats to people because you gave a lackluster performance, pause. You don't have the right to tell me what I should like or to tell Cam what he should like. That's not your place. Like, art is subjective, right? So if art is subjective and I don't like something, you can't really get mad at us because we don't like something. And you're standing there with two Hall of Fame boxers that are constantly letting their hands go. So I think is crazy that Andre Ward let his hands go. Terrence Crawford definitely let his hands go. And
I don't know what this
walk out with these boxes. And you don't tell the next guy to let
I guess why they're doing the show. I guess they were talking about this because Jay Prince is going to show up in their studio. We're going to have to get something straight. Who y'all talking about? You don't respect
it's
who?
Gonna come up. Let's get it out.
Which one?
Jay Prince.
Jay, who's that? Oh, Jay Rentz, the little dude. So,
but you ain't shit.
What?
Jay,
let's establish one thing, right? We've all known of some monsters, prison, streets, real monster dudes coming from the environment we come from, right?
Right.
We come outside anyway. Respectfully, I'm not taking nothing from Houston,
right,
or no other place. I'm from the West Coast, Cali. I'm a real Paru.
LA.
I've been trained in this. There's no way the stories of another man in another district is supposed to move me when we didn't care about the stories of the real monsters we saw here. We still came outside and faced it and dealt with it. Some of us lost, some of us is gone, some of us doing life, some of us is wounded, so on and so forth. So, whoever they perceive him to be, cool. But that don't move me.
Are you willing to sit down over a phone call or with this man and try to work this out?
Oh, man, blood got to get out.
There we go.
Call me a rat.
Officer, rat one.
Called you a rat? God damn. I don't see where the Jay Prince
I guess it's not showing. Yeah. It was on TikTok forever. They must have took it down. That was funny. They were talking, and then a week later said, you need to pull up in here. Jay Prince showed up in the studio. I don't even know where the studio was at. But he's a street. Jay Prince is a street cat. And my son worked for Jay Prince and stole his money. my son worked for Jay Prince. I told him, I said, man, Jay Prince is a real criminal in Houston. Andre, you got to, he's a real shiesty Negro there, man. He got them street hookups. So when he steal money from me, don't come looking for dad to help you. That might getting shot in the face.
And in my next life, I still don't want to be born in America. Nowhere near gangs. Nowhere near gangs.
It's not your choice. You're gonna be born in downtown LA.
It's like you said, you don't want to be born in a no bad
I don't.
Effed up in
I
their
don't.
mind.
Because I said to him, I got no choice.
I don't want to be born in no streets of America. Hell no. No. Much love, family.
You don't got no choice, Joe, but you're black. You come you're a black person. They could be in Brazil, Jamaica. Hey, you might be born in Jamaica. Who knows? Jamaica, Barbados, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa.
I'd prefer Kenya, Jamaica, Tanzania. That would make sense. No Museveni shit, no Tinubu shit, no, none of that, none of those other countries. They're really
might be gone. You might come back during the wake up. Everything's good now. Africa's now back on top, and everybody's having a good time and smart.
Hope so. I really hope so. But much love, family. Have yourselves a beautiful day. 16
much love, fam.
Hour right here. I hope you guys have yourselves the best part of your day. Have an amazing one. See you guys tomorrow.
Remember that when you leave, me and Joe are not your little ends, bastards. We're not your little ends.
We are not, we're not the little ends. You can tell. I love the way it was really funny, especially with the Chinese AI. It was even way it was very nice. But much love, family. Download our app if this is your first time. Subscribe if this is your first time, and also hit that like button, family, as you leave. Smash that like button as you leave. Joby will be in Jamaica with that inky devil dude. Oh no. Wish me better, Jason. I mean, how dare you? It's like I said to Pajaba say, I've found myself a little N in Kibera. Hell no. Are you crazy? I'm not going to Kibera because of no, man. I'm just going to Kibera. This a friend who has a car, so he drives around dropping some things, so he passes by Kibera, and I hope on the ride, it's just fun. I had nothing much to do, so
that's what's up.
Sometimes to freshen your head, apart because I stay in Rongai, I don't go anywhere. I'm always in Rongai, so it's good sometimes when you get the chance to get out.
It's good to get out. It's good to get out.
Yeah.
Good to get out because I need it. That's what I need. That's what I'm gonna put. Joby and probably not John, because tomorrow's time is up. I'll put them in an Uber, have them run around town, look for another location. I ain't told you guys. I'll tell you guys at the end of the year. But we're making locations about things. I'll share that at the end of the year. But I need tomorrow to find us another location.
Yep. That's gonna be nice. You guys are not ready. Like TMI. Much love.
All right. Too much information, you little Negroes.
Much love, family.
What's up?
Sijai panic, shit serious, ikai funny. The brand is elevating, which